Dr. Yisreal, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you again for stopping on the street.
No problem.
I know you were busy. Also, we got a lot of response from the video. We love it. Thank you for taking the time, meet me in the lobby. How
Yeah,
you
it's
feeling today?
good, good. I appreciate it, and I appreciate being here. You know, when you stopped me on the street, it was I was off guard. It was unexpected. I didn't want you to think I was being rude. That's why I just answered that one question. But I caught up with you afterwards in the lobby, so I let you know that I'd be willing to do an interview, and that's why we're here today.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
so I just wanted to ask, first of all, just give a little information about yourself so the people know
hmm
uh, how you came, your 5 books, Warrior Principle, and some of the greats. Let us know.
Right. Well, you know, I'm Dr. Sean Israel. I've been in education for over 21 years, 14 as a school administrator. I've been in urban education pretty much, you know, all of my career. And this is why, you know, my books and publications and my lectures and everything is centered around urban education because I feel like that's the most underserved area and also the most needed area where educators and administrators need quality resources in order to help them, you know, do their jobs better. So that's my focus, that's my niche, and that's the lane that I stay in.
I love it. I love it. Well, let me start with a question. I arrest you on the street. I want to know,
Right.
so how important is school leadership in urban education?
Right. School leadership is of the utmost importance because it's the school leaders, they are the ones that have to facilitate the educational process. And like I said, when you stop me on the street, urban schools serve families with students that come from families that live in poverty or low socioeconomic status. And a lot of times when you come from poverty, you have students that suffer from trauma. They suffer from single family homes, broken homes, a lot of dysfunction in a lot of ways because of the lack of resources that they have because they live in low socioeconomic status. So that's a whole different dynamic than if you were dealing with students that come from, you know, affluent or middle class families. And so school leadership becomes the utmost importance because the leaders are the ones who dictate the educational process. And if you don't have, you know, solid leaders in these schools, uh, the whole thing can just go awry because you don't have the proper guidance and the proper organization and proper structure in order to serve those students and those families. Because, like I was saying yesterday, your zip code shouldn't determine the quality of education that you have. And matter of fact, having a good education is the main reason why people can come out of poverty. It's not, you know, being an athlete. It's not being, you know, an entertainer or anything like that. Education is the fastest way to uplift someone out of poverty. So this is why school leadership is important in urban education. You have to have the right leaders in place in order to move a school forward. Right. Hey, hey, no problem. Thanks. All right. I appreciate it. Much respect.
Oh, yes. I mean, you get a lot great response.
hmm
People really love what you're saying.
Right.
Tell us the 5 books, you know, just
Right.
your 5 books you authored.
Right. Well, I have the Warrior Principle, of course. That's my most popular book. The 12 Laws of Urban School Leadership, The Hard Truth, the Cleopatra Teacher Rules, and I have Classroom Management, a guide for urban school teachers. Yeah.
Okay, and
Hey,
people,
how you doing? All right.
and
Appreciate it.
yeah, and
Sorry about that. Go
no,
ahead.
no problem. Hey, I know. I mean, people need your knowledge, information. So, where can we get those?
You can get them off, you know, anywhere education books are sold. Amazon. You can go to my website, epbsconsultants.com, wherever education books are found.
Right. Okay. Just 2 more questions. So, why is it so hard for urban schools to retain quality teachers and support staff?
Well, it becomes hard because, like I was saying, urban education deals with, you know, students that come from families that live in poverty or low socioeconomic status. And so, you know, when you live in poverty, they have different cultural norms, different value systems than a lot of times from middle class and affluent. And so, because of the poverty and the things that takes place in those communities, a lot of times the staff members that work in urban schools, they come from affluent or middle class communities. And so they come in with a different set of value systems, a different set of norms, and a different set of expectations of what school is supposed to be like. And a lot of times they base their school experiences and practices and things that they've experienced when they were in school, and they think that when they're working in urban education, they bring those same things with them, and they think that's how, as an adult, their school should run while they're working in urban education. And a lot of times that's not true. So it becomes harder because, number one, the cultural differences between the staff and the students. And then two, a lot of times because of the schools, urban schools are located in communities that are poor and suffering, those communities don't have, those schools can't afford to pay the top dollars for the high quality teachers. So a lot of times those teachers, even though they may work in urban schools for 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, after that they may transfer or leave and go to a school district that has better resources, that pays a higher salary. So in urban, that leaves voids in urban education where there's a constant revolving door or of staff members that keeps coming in and out. And that typically why it's so hard. But there's ways that you can remedy that because urban schools and particularly urban school principals, while they're recruiting and for staff, they have to go outside the box. They have to start using social media. They have to start looking at some of the HBCUs and trying to look for quality individuals to fill voids. You got some schools that start the school year and they might have 10 positions, 10 classroom, 10 vacant teaching positions. But you got students that's reporting on the first day, but you don't have teachers in those classrooms. And see, that's a problem. So they got to go outside the box. They have to go to HBCUs. They have to recruit in the small towns, and they can bring in people that are in different avenues than what you would normally look at. And then once you get them, you have to train them, and you have to incentivize things, and then encourage them, and maybe do things so they can feel vested, and that way they'll stay, and you won't have this constant revolving door.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it. All right. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, last and final question.
All right.
Before we get on with that, is there anything you want to say to the student? The student is about to go to college, or a student that's whatever, a parent that needs to get their kids ready for a HBCU or something like that?
Well, I would say to a student that's getting ready for college.
Yeah, just going through the process.
Yeah.
It could be a sophomore.
Well, I would say, yeah, make sure you fill out that financial aid and that FAFSA form, as soon as possible. Because the earlier that you fill out the financial aid, the FAFSA form, the quicker you'll be able to get the most money that you can before it's all gone. When I say money, I'm talking about federal dollars and free money. And so if you also an urban student and you come from a family that lives in low socioeconomic status, you'll qualify for more money than somebody who doesn't. And that way you'll probably be able to get to go to college for practically free because of your family. This is the one time where, being poor, coming from a family that don't make a lot of money, it works. Because I know I was one of them, so, I know that, filling out the financial aid forms and getting everything in on time, that's the more money that you can, have for college, and you can have your college paid for because you come from a family that, come from low socioeconomic status.
Okay, and mentally, how do you get them prepared mentally? I mean, you got a junior or you got a senior or a sophomore who's been in a lower economic status. How do you get him prepared?
Well, it don't start when at the junior senior year. You start getting your kids prepared for college the moment you start teaching them how to read. Okay, so it's about sitting down some quality time where when the phones are away, the computers and laptops are put away, the TV is turned off, and you're basically from a little child. You're sitting down with your child and you're reading with your child 20 minutes a day. You're doing fun activities where they get to go outside and run around, and they get to engage in the environment. All right, and not just the environment where they live, but go to parks and different places like that outside of their community, especially if their community don't have those type of things. And just have time for your child to explore different things and also have the child read. And then as the child gets older, they are accustomed to reading, and that's so their brain will start developing at a proper pace. And then once they get in school, you have to make sure that there's some time and there's a space where and where the child gets to come in, do their homework every day, read for a certain amount of time, and over the years they get acclimated with studying. And then by the time you get to high school, you whether freshman, junior, sophomore, whatever, then you start introducing those college conversations. Really, you can start introducing college conversations at any point, just to get them thinking about it.
And I know that's good in a perfect world, but a lot of these kids now, 9, they talking about this drug and that drug, and they're not even ready for that. How do you get them ready?
Well, like I said, I don't think it has to be like in a perfect world. I think that that's just your responsibility as a parent. Like, the school only encounters the kid for a certain amount of hours a day. All right. And so the child is with the parents and their family and they're inside their community more time than they're actually in school. So it's a partnership. It's not about the school preparing the child for college. It's about the parents and the community, and then those parents doing what they need to do also, because it's a partnership. It's not all on the school. Now, once you get to the school level, the school can do things as well. They can do exposure trips, field trips. They can have colleges come inside the school and do visits. They can do college visits. Colleges can come inside the school and do presentations. You can just start talking. I know a lot of schools, even schools that I've led, we have college and career fairs. We have banners of different colleges plastered all over the building. So the culture is promoting college and is getting kids just to think about it, even when they probably too young to even start going. So the idea and the thought is there because the culture of the school, it promotes and feeds students going off to college if they so desire.
So let me ask you, is it realistic? You think of a movie, this is old school, Joe Brown, the NHIC, he got these kids.
Joe Clark, you mean?
Joe Clark,
right.
Joe Clark. So is it realistic to have a principal or a superintendent to encourage kids like that, or you just saying it's got to start at home and that's it?
Well, I don't think in today's climate you can be a Joe Clark. You'll lose your job within the first 30 days, all right? And that was a movie, so it had a lot of theatrics in
Hollywood,
it. Yeah, it's Hollywood. But you can be a school leader, like I said, to promote college and to get students to think about it by having the cultural context and the cultural environment of the school to promote college, going to college. But you also got to remember that every student in the school building is not going to go to college or desire to. So you have to have educational opportunities and have pathways for those students that don't desire to go to college right after high school.
What's the pathway? Just give me a...
Well, it could be a career pathway. Some students may want to go into the arts. Some may want to go into plumbing, electricity, be an electrician. You might have some students that pick up a trade, was barbering, plumbing, what have you. So you have to have number one, a solid education where everybody can benefit from. So no matter what pathway they go to, they can be successful.
Okay. And my last question, I just wanted to delve into that a little
Yeah,
bit.
no problem. Hey.
Motivational. We see you. We see how you're taking your work and you're giving people a guideline.
But also, reason why people like my work is because I'm realistic and I just don't paint fairy tales and things of that nature. And so that's one of the misnomers, I say misnomers, one of the things that are going around. It's the school. Yes, it's the school. But what you got to realize, the school is an extension of the community, okay? And the community is nothing but an extension of each individual family. So each family that sends their child to school, they play a role in this too. You can't just send your child to school and expect for everything, all the education, just to happen within the walls of the school, all right? Education goes on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, and they spend more time outside of school than they do inside of school. So there has to be some learning going on outside of school. And if there's learning going on outside of school, it's going to help the learning that happens inside of the school.
So that kind of goes right into our last question, and then I really appreciate you. So, what role does the school board play?
Right. You got some really good questions. Where you come up? You been in education yourself?
Well, I follow your books, so I read your books and I try to stay educated.
Right, right. I appreciate it. Well, you guys got a good program, and I like your interviews, and I've seen a couple of interviews, so I appreciate being on the show. But you said, what role does the school boards play?
Yeah.
Well, the school boards play a very important role. And a lot of times, when you talk about education, people always point the finger at teachers or school administrators, but the school board, or they even point at the superintendent, but the school board is often left out. But they play an important role as well because the school board members are often elected by the community, all right, or in some cases they're appointed. And if you look at the hierarchy of education, there's the school board hires the superintendent hires have his cabinet up under his direct executive cabinet, and then up under the executive cabinet you have the principals and other school leaders. All right, so in this proper context, the school board sets policy and the superintendent administers policy. All right, and administering policy means hiring the administrators who eventually will hire the staff members. So when you look at that hierarchical structure, it's the school board members play a very important role. And if the school board is disorganized, that means the superintendent is going to be all over the place. If the superintendent is all over the place, that means when it comes time to hire principals to serve in leadership roles at the various schools, it's going to be a recipe for disaster because there won't be any structures and no processes in place to vet the applicants to hire the most quality individuals to fill those roles. And I think that's one reason why urban schools across the board are in such bad shape, because you don't have the proper leadership in place that's going to sustain and that can withstand the pressure and withstand all of the things that comes with being an urban school leader. So the school board plays a very, very important role in all of this.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate you and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.